Well, hello and everyone, welcome to this session, and also many thanks to Alternative Balance for providing this platform, and of course our dear Michelle for organizing the webinars and logistics of it. My journey into field of functional medicine coaching has been very personal. I witnessed the terrible impact of chronic illness in my own family. Losing loved ones to one to cancer, the other one to multiple sclerosis was not just heartbreaking, but also a wake-up call. And these experiences helped me understand the limitation of conventional medicine and inspired me to seek for holistic approaches that addresses the root cause of the disease. Through this painful research, I came across the functional medicine about 5-6 years ago. And this has become my true passion in coaching others navigate their health challenges, especially in regards to metabolic health and sugar cravings. So what we consume daily affects our metabolic health. This is something that we should be really cautious about. Metabolic health is the very foundation of our well-being. It is the body's ability to process nutrients and food and create energy and store that energy for the right amount for the right time. So it regulates the vital physiological processes in the body. Now, over the past 30 years, we know that how much consumption of this refined sugar has increased. And we now know that metabolic health and immune system are really essential requirements for our well-being. These two systems are interconnected, and the proper function of each one of them is depending on the other one. There is a crosstalk. There is a communication between the two that is often called central homeostatic mechanism, which is balancing mechanism. So the disturbance between any of these mechanisms is linked to metabolic disorders, ranging from cardiovascular to cancer and obesity and diabetes, stroke, and in women hormone issues like polycystic ovarian syndrome and autoimmune disease. There are lots and lots of studies on metabolic dysregulation that not only is the cause of, can be the cause of autoimmune disease, but also the progression of autoimmune disease. And the common denominator between the two is inflammation. So in the recent years, you see, if you go to pubmed.gov, you see lots of studies on refined sugar, high diet of refined sugar, and inflammation. The excessive intake of this sugar is associated with low-grade chronic inflammation and in long run autoimmune disease. When we are talking about sugar, we are talking about hexoses, meaning the glucose, fructose, 6 carbon molecules, and sucrose, and high fructose corn syrup and similar sugars. These are primarily, after absorption, they turn into glucose at the end of the day. Either this glucose is in a mixed form in a processed food or alone, causes inflammation and metabolic dysregulation. So now I would like to share my screen and if I can. Okay. Making sure that you all see it, right?
Yes, we see it.
And the other thing is that making it as a full screen. Okay, it won't allow me, so that's fine. I mean, we can. Okay, now I can. Okay, it seems that it's full screen now. Okay, what is sugar-free living and how we can stop sugar craving naturally so we can have better energy, sharper mind, and more focus? The objective for today is that to teach you a new way of looking at nutrition, asking the right questions, why you might need a different approach to your lifestyle, and simple strategies. There are more strategies, but I included 3 in here because of the time allowed here, as you know, we have to honor that. And then if there was enough time, we go to a few case studies and question and answer at the end. Who am I? I'm a wife and nature and animal lover. I'm a chiropractor. I'm a yoga therapist. And I am a certified Dr. Wall's protocol. You know, Dr. Wall's is someone who restored her health from multiple sclerosis. And now she's biking and she's running, jogging, all of that within 1 year. And also, I'm a functional medicine health coach for midlife women going from low energy and foggy brain and sugar cravings and difficulty losing weight to feeling energized, sharp, and feel their best all naturally. This material is educational and is not substituting the medical, psychological, or nutritional advice. We shouldn't diagnose or treat any of these conditions as far as illnesses, mental illness, or health problems. Always seek your medical practitioner advice. And always, anytime you're changing your diet or lifestyle, always ask them first. Get their okay, and then follow that diet or system. How to get the most out of this session? Just be open and sit, relax, and turn off the distractions. I want you to, first and foremost, love your body no matter what. Tired or not, sugar cravings or not, disease or healthy, overweight or healthy weight. What is the root? What is at the root of the most common chronic health issues? As we said, is metabolic dysregulation, resulting from diet of ultra-processed food, seed oils, and refined sugar. Because of the time, I only focus on refined sugar today. But all of these 3, again, ranging from heart disease to stroke and diabetes and fatty liver and PCOS and autoimmune disease, any of these conditions are the result of consumption of this food. Just be aware that metabolic health has the most essential role in the body's biochemical processes. Because without metabolic health, we are not able to produce the right amount of energy. We are supposed to consume more food and produce energy to go on with our life. We are supposed to produce for each molecule of glucose, we are supposed to produce 38 molecules of energy in best case scenario. So what happens when we are consuming refined sugar? As you see on top, let's say you had 1 or 2 donuts or 4, I don't know. I used to, when I had a cake in front of me, I could literally eat like 1/4 of it in one sitting. So I was a sugar addict myself, to be honest with you. So as soon as you have this refined sugar, After digestion, the sugar goes into your blood, running around. And this sugar signals your pancreas. Pancreas is the gland which is behind your stomach on left side of the rib cage. One of the functions of pancreas is producing insulin, hormone insulin. This insulin has the key to the locks on the cell. These are all human cells, just one cell, right? So it has the key to open the gate of the cell membrane, which is called receptor site. So it's a gatekeeper. It opens the gate, the glucose from the blood enters to the cell, does its business, which is producing of energy in a healthy scenario, 38 molecules of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is basically energy. And what is extra is being saved in our muscles and our tissues like kidneys and brain and liver, the extra one, as glycogen stores. So when we need to run fast, when we need to use our muscles, it's as immediate use. That glucose is for immediate use. So our body has an inventory of glucose as well. And these are all in healthy situations. So when the cell had enough of the glucose, created its energy, it has a feedback loop. It has a negative feedback loop telling or signaling pancreas, stop, do not make any more insulin. So pancreas stops and doesn't make insulin because we are okay, our energy is good, we had enough of glucose inside the cells. But what happens is when we are eating too much of this refined sugar and ultra processed food and seed oil and all of those things that we said, there's too much of the inflammatory molecules, and in this webinar, too much of glucose is running around in the blood. So pancreas signals pancreas. Pancreas produces insulin. But too much of this sugar and too much of insulin ends up with a situation that insulin's key is not working anymore, is not able to open the gates of glucose. So pancreas is producing insulin as much as 5 to 7 times more. And this is the case of pre-diabetes, not even diabetes. So it produces lots and lots of insulin. There is lots of glucose in the blood, lots of insulin, but the cells are starving. That's why we want more sugar. We want sugar. We are tired. We are hungry. And since the cells did not get enough glucose, that feedback loop does not exist. So pancreas, poor pancreas, is producing insulin so much, but the insulin doesn't work again. So at one point, pancreas in severe cases stops making insulin because it has done so much that now it's not able to produce that much of insulin. So that is when people need to have insulin injections and so on and so forth. And all of these extra glucose that is running in the blood, and one of the functions of insulin is stored as a fat. Where is this fat is accumulated? In our tissues around the muscles, in our liver, which is fatty liver. And the closest place to the liver, the fat is being deposited there. Where? In our belly. So the symptoms of insulin resistance are sugar cravings because we are hungry, low energy because we didn't produce energy. And this happens in our brain cells and nervous tissues, so cognitive issues, memory, and in severe cases, frequent urination. Same goes for protein. Proteins are not being absorbed properly because insulin is not working. The key is not working. Protein is not being produced. Muscles have hard time building, and we have hard time building muscles. Bone and joint issues. Potassium and sodium absorption is having issues because the kidneys are getting damaged. On average, Americans consume as much as 60 pounds, and I'm sure this is even more now, of sugar annually. This is not the very recent number. All of these pretty refined sugar are good looking, are not very good looking inside of our body. Most of the glucose are hidden in processed foods based on WHO's exact word. Sugar raises our appetite and hunger hormone, which is called ghrelin. So we get more hungry. According to CDC, the prevalence of obesity in 2011 was this. 2011, 13 years ago. Now, this. One more time. And this is where we are heading. All the green states are either yellow or orange, and the orange ones are getting more red. According to CDC, 1 person out of 3 is having prediabetes. And this is only for the 18 and over. We are not counting 18 and under. We are not counting the diabetic patients. We are not counting the underdiagnosed or undiagnosed ones. This is just 1 out of 3 prediabetes. And even prediabetes, we are not even aware that we are having it. That was my case. In 2017-18, there was a study, and imagine this is 6 years ago, saying that only 6.8% of US adults have optimal cardiometabolic health compared to 99. And this study was from starting 99, 2000 till 2018, and the numbers were reducing up and became 6.8. So we are really in need of help. Public health is really, I mean, there has to be some regulations, new regulations to change this. This is from Journal of American College of Cardiology. Sugar has similar effects on the brain, like cocaine and nicotine and heroin, and alcohol combined. This is, I mean, I'm speechless when I read this. So not only increases the weight, excess sugar, it increases the hormone called dopamine, a pleasure and reward hormone in the brain, just like drugs, tobacco, and cocaine, morphine. After using some time, that amount of sugar that was consumed is not producing the same amount of dopamine. So you need higher amount of if you were eating like 1 cookie a day and you feel good and great, now you need 2 cookies in order to have the same amount of reward and pleasure. So it's addictive. The food industry makes the food kind of hyper palatable, meaning that the sense of reward is so much because of the additive that is being added, that is hijacking the reward center in the brain and even in the behavioral issue. Like decision-making process is changed, just like drugs. Sugar increases aging, accelerates aging, because The excess blood sugar binds to skin collagen and makes it less elastic. There's a process in our body called, it's a beautiful process called autophagy. It's a recycling process anytime that any parts of inside the cell components are not working, damaged, or old. They are replaced with new ones to create homeostasis, create balance. So this autophagy also affects the pancreas, the islet structure. Islets of Langerhans is like little islets inside our pancreas producing glucagon and insulin from alpha cells and beta cells. And also on the function of pancreas and of beta cells. So structure and function is being affected or balanced or regulated by autophagy. And same as the insulin target tissues such as muscles and liver and adipose tissues, fat tissues, everywhere, all over our body, the cells are being renewed. Once there's inflammation, autophagy is not working. Autophagy is disturbed. And the repercussion of this is inflammatory conditions leading to autoimmune disease, cancer, and infections, and neurodegenerative and cardiovascular and so on and so forth, and metabolic disorder. Refined sugar causes shrinkage of the brain, causing memory issues and cognitive issues because of the damage to the brain cells. And these are so subtle. And unfortunately, the damage is permanent. In our body, we have 10 times more of microorganisms, bacteria and viruses in our body. So if they were to weigh the microorganisms inside our body, it is 1 to 3% of our body mass. If someone is 200 pounds, 2 to 6 pounds of bacteria. See, these are microscopic. And imagine 6 pounds, or if you're 100 pounds, would be like 1 to 3 pounds of bacteria. That's a lot. And we have up to 380 trillions of viruses inside of us. Bacteria species are almost 500, minimum 500 to 1,000. So there is a balance inside of our body as far as healthy microorganisms and unhealthy ones. And once we are getting too much of inflamed or inflammatory, we are consuming inflammatory foods, we are throwing off the balance between these two. In our digestive system, most of these healthy bacteria and microorganisms are living in large intestine, 90% in large intestine. So when we are consuming too much of refined sugar, we are damaging the good bacteria. What good bacteria and healthy bacteria are craving is not sugar. What they are craving, their food is prebiotic. Their food is vegetables, rainbow color vegetables, polyphenols, phytochemicals, and all of these goodies. But the bad bacteria, unhealthy bacteria, or pathogenic bacteria, they are craving for sugar. So these pathogenic bacteria are manipulating our brain and asking for sugar. So we are decreasing the diversity of and the numbers of the good bacteria in our gut. And you know how much of the digestive system is being assumed as first brain in our body. The other glorious benefit of refined sugar is high insulin level causing breast cancer in women, and glucose and insulin together doubling up the endometrial cancer in women. All right, so how do we know if we are sugar dependent or not? The questions to ask is, do we need to eat sugary food all day? Are we getting too often hungry? Feeling lightheaded? Need something sweet? Think about sweets. Feeling sad until we have a piece of cake or something, or a soda. We feel tired and we need to boost our energy with some sweets. If we answered yes to any of these, we have metabolic dysregulation. But not to worry, there are simple ways to help our metabolic health, and they are not difficult. And all of you, I'm sure that you know what these are, but it's just implementing it is a little bit needs a little discipline. And just know that you are not alone. If you have any metabolic dysregulation, you're not alone. As we said, 2018 study, 6.8% of people only are cardiometabolically healthy. I made this little graph. It's a simplified version of what happens when we are eating too much sugar. So the horizontal x-axis is the time, and the y-axis vertical line is blood sugar level. So when you get up in the morning, let's say it's 9 o'clock, you brush your teeth, you are taking a shower and everything. So you get hungry and you have your cereal and coffee and cream and all that. So you have sugar spike. You feel good, your energy is good, your mood is good, you're happy. Just about 1 hour and a half later, 90 minutes later, suddenly your sugar crashes in your blood and you feel, low energy, tired, foggy brain, you crave more sugar. So it's about 11 o'clock. It's your break time or something, and you go to eat maybe a sandwich and a Coke for lunch. And again, you have a sugar spike and you feel good. 1 hour and a half later, same story, sugar crash happens and you're tired. And you need some chips, or I don't know, some muffin and coffee again in the afternoon. So this story happens all day. When in the morning we choose to have some sweets, that story repeats and repeats and repeats. Sugar spike, sugar crash, sugar spike, sugar crash. What we want to have is not this roller coaster. What we want to have a very soft and smooth curves here. You might be thinking, oh, how I'm going to do this? I cannot change. It's hard to change. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't have support. But if you implement just these three, you will feel the change in your energy level and your mood. And it's not very difficult at all. It's not heavy duty exercise or heavy duty diets or anything. Okay, solution number 1. Food order matters. Food order matters. This study, emerging evidence suggests that pre-meal consumption of non-carbohydrate macros, like protein and fat, preloads, can markedly reduce postprandial glycemia. Postprandial glycemia is the level of blood sugar after meal by delaying gastric emptying, enhancing glucose-stimulated insulin release, and decreasing insulin clearance. Gastric emptying, meaning it takes longer when you're eating complex carb like green leafy vegetables and proteins with fat. It takes longer for gastric juices and digestive system to process it. Sugar is very fast. Therefore, your insulin level, first of all, your glucose insulin crosstalk is very normal. And then insulin is not cleared from your blood so fast. So you will have that smooth cycle that I was mentioning of increase of glucose and insulin. There's another study suggests that it was two groups of people, one fast eaters, people who did not chew their food or don't chew their food properly, and the other one slow, and they chewed very slowly and all that. You know that eating fast, not chewing your food is just really horrible because digestive system are except our mouth, which has teeth, our digestive system does not have teeth. So it cannot chew. It cannot, basically you are losing the food out of your system undigested. So it's really, I mean, just think about that. If out of this webinar, one thing that you can take away, one thing would be chew your food very well, starting today. So among these two groups, they saw that when they are starting their food with complex carb, vegetables first, and lastly, their simple carbs, they had reduction of glucose and insulin concentration in their blood compared to the slow eaters. So what do you want to do? Always, if you have in front of you, if you have salads and green leafy vegetables, and you have your meat, and you have your fruits, or maybe you are really, really wanting an ice cream or a piece of cake, start with non-starchy vegetables first. Starchy vegetables raises the blood sugar. Do not start your breakfast with hash browns and potatoes. Start with non-starchy. I listed some of them, non-starchy vegetables. You can take a screenshot or Google it. I mean, you see the list is longer, but I included some of them. So first start with non-starchy vegetables, then your protein. Usually healthy fat comes with protein. Do not consume too much fat. When you're eating, let's say, a piece of meat, choose not very, very lean meat, meat that has a slight fat in it, natural fats. And then your piece of fruit, or you're really, really desperate for a little ice cream, eat it at last. Not do not consume on empty stomach any of these simple carbs, because that changes your metabolic health, and in time it is metabolic dysregulation. So have your simple carbs lastly. So we need to have enough of healthy fibers, proteins and fat, and the right order to satiate. See, so the reason we are getting hungry because we have sugar cravings is because we're hungry. We are hungry, so we reach out more sugar, more sugar, more sugar. But then this sugar just depletes our energy level. We are not producing energy. So right amount of macronutrients. Macronutrients are fibers and proteins and fat. And the right order makes you feel satiated, not hungry as much. Type me in the chat if you're ready to change. If you're ready to change the order of your food. Let me see. Actually, I cannot see the chat, but it's really, let me see. Actually, somebody. Okay, Michelle. All right, Anna, thank you for answering. Thank you, thank you. Yes, me too. I am very cognizant of this order. When I go to restaurants, I'm really hungry, and I have salad and I have my food, but I choose the salad first, and I started meditation. Yes, 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 Helene. Yes, I agree. Thank you, you guys for answering. Yes, so I have my salad first, And honestly, when I have my salad first, then I'm not really hungry as much, so I eat less. So then I have my protein, and then I have a piece of fruit because we need to have good carbs as well. But we don't need to have cookies and donuts and these things, but we need to have good carbs. So at the end of my meal, every day, I have a piece of fruit to have the feeling of sweetness in my mouth, to have the feeling of satiating uh, the sweet taste in my mouth. Otherwise, if I don't have that little piece of fruit, then I may want or need to have something sweet later. And I would rather to have that sweet right after the meal so that it doesn't spike my insulin and sugar. Okay. I love this. Life is lived when tiny changes occurs. Solution number 2. As I said, you know all of this, but I want you to really think deeply about it. That is your sleep hygiene. It's really, really important on your metabolic health. See, when you are stressed out, you have sleep deprivation. When you cannot sleep, right? And when you have poor sleep, it affects your stress level. Your stress level increases. Either way, it's bidirectional. So the brain increases the hunger hormone, the ghrelin. So you get hungry more. And your leptin, which is satiety hormone, would be secreted less. And another thing is that the brain, see, our digestive system starts from the mouth. Our mouth has, nowadays, there's tons of research talking about microbiome, the healthy gut and the healthy bacteria in our mouth. The gut starts, actually, digestive starts from the mouth, from your lips to your anus. This is the digestive canal. So the microbiome in your mouth will change. The diversity of good ones changes. So your taste bud is altered. So your choice of food will be changed. So you are going toward refined sugar. You are moving toward having because the diversity has changed. So your whole mechanism, the physiology of the mouth has changed. The taste bud has changed. So you're reaching for this, sweet stuff. And then what happens later is the sugar crash. The same story repeats and repeats. So anytime I'm traveling long distance, I get hungry because, for instance, in the plane, I have hard time sleeping. So sleep deprivation, I'm hungry. so this is really something that to be aware of it. See, our nervous system, autonomic nervous system, which we have no control over, is divided to two systems: sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic. As you all know, sympathetic is for fight or flight or freeze. Anytime we are afraid or we are angry, we want to fight with someone or with something, or we are afraid, we want to run away, or we freeze, we need to have right amount of sympathetic nervous system in our body to act. It has to work. It has to work, send signals to your muscles to run away. So when you are in rest and digest mode, you need your parasympathetic nervous system in right amount and right timing. These two systems cannot act at the same time. Either we are in this right side or we are on the left side. For instance, when you are in rest and digest mode, when you are eating your food, you cannot have low stomach acid production. Your stomach is working, it's producing acids because you are chewing your food. So it's the process in a healthy person, the process is this. So both systems cannot be at the same time. See, nervous system is not meant to be nervous all the time, right? So in conclusion, sleep problems directly affects the brain physiology and its ability to balance hormones. When there is poor sleep habits, you're wanting more sugar due to disruption of hormones regulating blood sugar. Drop a heart in the chat if you're going to work on your sleep routine. Let me see how many of you. Yes, 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 yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes, sleep routine. And, this is another webinar, like sleep routine by itself, I used to have webinars on sleep and how we can sleep better. But then, as a surprise, I have something for you at the end of this webinar. Solution number 3, you know this one too. That is movement. And we are not talking about heavy duty exercise. No, we are not talking about that. According to this study not too long ago, only 10 minutes of walking, low intensity, assist in management of glucose level in the blood after food, if taken when glucose is high. See, let's say you're eating your food at 12 o'clock. Around 12:30, your glucose and insulin is starting to get to the peak. So if 30 minutes after your food, you just go for a walk, 10 minutes, even around the house, around the office, just going to the restroom and coming back, just 10 minutes of walk, it lowers the postprandial blood glucose level in your system. And the next study was that light intensity walking showed a greater response of glucose and insulin compared to standing interruptions and prolonged sitting. There were 3 groups. So one group was sitting for a long time, and then they ate the food. And then the other group, they were sitting for a long time, but then they had standing and bouts of movements. And then third group, after sitting for a long time, they went for a low intensity walk. And they saw that in the third group, light intensity walking had a meaningful reduction in insulin and glucose in their blood compared to the other 2. So we see how movement is important. Not really, of course, if you go to gym and do heavy duty exercise, more power to you. But even just simple walking, as much as 10 minutes, and one study I read 2 minutes, from 2 minutes to 10 minutes is just really nothing. So we do not stop exercising. I love this. Because we grow old. We grow old because we stop exercising. If we don't change, we cannot have transformation. A caterpillar has to go through these changes, although it might not be so easy. But then at the end, look at the result. It's a beautiful butterfly. So the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. And type yes in the chat if you feel like moving your body right now. I certainly do. So you can move your body right now, and actually I am. You can shake your hands or arms, your legs or feet a little bit, your neck. Okay, so what we learned today is that sugar is addictive. Sugar changes the brain chemistry and hormone production. Sugar suppresses the satiety hormone. The order of macronutrients matter. Poor sleep hygiene increases the sugar craving, importance of movement and sugar craving. So our choices in diet and lifestyle can make us sick or healthy. So my gift to you today is that I offer a 20 minutes discovery call discussing the challenges and your goals and your commitment, family support, and next best step for you. I usually work with people who are 100% committed and ready to change. And they are coachable and teachable. I also have a ultimate sleep PDF guide for you to download and effective sleep journaling. And here it is, the QR code. You can scan it with your phone. And this is the free discovery call or strategy call. And again, thank you for this platform. And so my website is melodythehealthcoach.com. My email is wellness@melodythehealthcoach.com. My Instagram handle is drmelodydc. And thank you, everyone. So I stop this screen share. If has everyone scanned the previous slide?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. Okay, so what do you want me to do now?
I didn't get the last one though.
Oh,
very
you
last.
didn't? Yes, sorry. Just 1 second, let me screen share again. Actually, I can send it to you in a chat. Let me see.
Thank you.
Sure.
Really great talk.
Anna, I mean, Michelle, do you have them to
I put the links in the chat.
Oh, you did.
For the sleep guide, your website, and the discovery call. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So you can use that, Anna. It's the same thing.
And Melody, did you want to send me the presentation so I can send it out to everybody?
Yes, I can send the recording. Sure.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll send the recording too out. So you'll have that. I'll put it in the Facebook group so everybody will have that. But I wonder if anybody has any questions for Melody before we end. I just think it was super interesting. Now, what was that person you said? It was it Terry Walls is the name of it?
Dr. Terry Walls. Yes, Dr. Terry Walls.
So maybe could you tell us a little bit about that specifically, like, maybe the diet?
Yes, Dr. Terry Walls. So I lost my sister-in-law in multiple sclerosis, and that became a driving force for me to learn about this disease and what can be done. So after coming across functional medicine, I found Dr. Terry Walls. She's an MD, and she had multiple sclerosis in 2000. And it started in 2000. She was diagnosed, and she got worse, progressively worse. 2007, she was bounded in a wheelchair, and she was seeing patients with her wheelchair and everything, and to the point that she was extremely tired and she wasn't able to see patients anymore. So she started finding out about what changes as far as diet and lifestyle can change. So within 5 months, she started using her walker, and then gradually to cane, and gradually with no help. And in October 2007, she was on a wheelchair. October 2008, she was riding the bike. So it's such an amazing, and I wish I had known this earlier to help my sister-in-law, and it's just sad. So basically, so I was trained by her, and I was really lucky, and so it works. This system of diet and life, she uses diet and lifestyle intervention, so it works with any autoimmune disease. So as she says, she's not curing the MS, but she's restoring her health. So whatever you want to call it, from wheelchair to riding her bike every day to her work, whatever that is called, I call it restoring her health. But she doesn't call it cure, because that's a responsibility. So from that level to this, being able to do those activities, it's just phenomenal. It's just fantastic. So I'm trained by her, and I'm her website, drterrywalls.com. I'm in the directory. So there are practitioners all over the world. And so it's all through diet and lifestyle interventions. It's just the only thing that is needed is the person's willing to do the changes. And in fact, it's not hard. Her diet and lifestyle interventions, actually, the diet part is delicious. She's not, so it is not something that you suffer a lot. It is just that some foods are being eliminated, and then you will see gradually the benefit of it. Yes, the order of the food, Daniel, is really important.
So you're saying, Melody, to cut out grains, right? Is that part of it?
Grain is in Dr. Wall's protocol, grain in first level, gluten-free grain in the beginning, maybe once in a week is fine, but in usual, grain is inflammatory. Grain is best is to be eliminated. If you really, really, really crave for rice, let's say, the best suggestion is that soaking the rice overnight and the next day pressure cook it. That reduces the lectin and the hard protein at the surface of the grain, and it makes it more digestible by the enzymes, digestive enzymes. So lectin will be, is not fully gone, but it is diminished. So it doesn't create a burden on your body. But best is to avoid it as much as possible.
Great. Does anybody have any other questions?
I've had one. I've been taught to eat the fruit before other things because it's pre-digested food, and also to only have it before noon. I know that's a really old book. But I guess I felt like when I was really just doing that, and then I would always exercise right afterward. So maybe that was where I was getting the one thing I was doing right, because at that point I was younger, but also my belly was like perfectly flat. So
Exercise, of course, is just neutralizes the effect of the high glucose and insulin level in your blood. And plus, as when we are younger, our metabolism is more healthy. So, and plus, I don't know what age you are, but let's say 10 years ago, if you're talking about 10 years ago, at that time, the number of processed food and refined sugar hidden in processed food was not this much. So as we said, that the last 3 decades is just getting worse and worse and worse. So then metabolic and health becomes more important because of addition of these seed oils and refined sugar in the food. So basically, anything that we did, if you, perhaps, I'm not saying this, but if you did your simple carbs first, I mean, fruits are not simple carbs. Fruit are still complex carbs, but it raises the blood sugar in a big amount. But if you did it right now and then you did the regular food, and perhaps if you didn't exercise, it will raise your blood sugar. So usually sweet taste is recommended after the other macronutrients. So non-starchy vegetables first, because it doesn't raise the blood glucose, and then the fiber and the protein and fat together, and then lastly your fruit. I tried this with using continuous glucose monitor. You attach it to the back of your arm. So I was seeing that, huge benefits of the order of the food and this few minutes walking after 30 minutes after my food. Huge benefits. The things that I didn't know before, and now I don't need the glucose monitor, so I can just sense it myself. And also another biosensor in your body is your energy level. See, our body, without all these gadgets and these things are excellent in the beginning, but after some time, you develop these biosensors in your body. So you feel it. You feel your energy level is increased. You feel, okay, you don't have headaches anymore. You are not tired anymore. So you can, work until 10 p.m. and then you are tired then. Not at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, getting the sugar crash and tiredness, needing coffee or something. So the energy level, because of the mitochondrial change, mitochondria is getting more healthier, and the numbers and the quality of mitochondria are, that is the cell energy generators. So their health is becoming more enhanced by proper diet and lifestyle. So you have more energy. You're supposed to create energy for every molecule of glucose, 38 molecule of energy. But now I don't think most of us, including myself, I'm not producing that much. So what we can do is just, there is a lot of factors. I only included 3 factors here. Many other factors, including like EMF and all these things, is just damages mitochondrial health. That's another webinar. But there's so much we can do to increase our energy level. And
thank you so much.
Thank you, Helene. Thank you, Anna.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This was wonderful. I learned a lot.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All
Me
right.
too.
So
Really great talk.
to
Thank you.
Melody, if you have any questions, and like I said, I'll put it in the Facebook group and send the recording
Yes,
from our YouTube
Tell me,
channel.
I'm just interested to know one takeaway that any of you had from today. What would that be? If you can type it in the chat. Okay. Food order. All right. Food order is really easy change. There's no effort is needed. It's just a little bit, slight action required. That's it.
No. Hold on. I was typing badly with my thumb.
Yes, Anna. Yes, Anna. True.
Yeah.
True.
He was explaining to me that
Dopamine is there's a book called Dopaminergic Nation. So is that, everything we do is to increase our dopamine, either through drugs or food or you name it, any other addiction, sex, all these things, is to increase the dopamine. So the more dopamine you have, the less satisfied you are with your life. That is something to remember.
the more dopamine you have,
The more dopamine you have, the more depressed people get. If you look at the third world nations, they don't have the luxury of all these things that in countries other countries, the privileged countries have, yet they are happier.
Interesting.
Anyways, thank you everyone for attending. I appreciate it. And if you had any questions, let me know. And Danielle is easy to change. Yes. It's easy. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Melody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a great
Thank you,
rest of the
everyone.
day. And nice meeting you all. Take care.